for the curtain call. Guess I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I'm waiting for the curtain call. Guess I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I won't let my feelings play a game, so I might as well remove your name. Jenny, you will not stay the same, but I'll be waiting here until the end, till the end, until the end. I let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I won't let my feelings play a game, so I might as well remove your name. Jenny, you will not stay the same, but I'll be waiting here until the end. I'm waiting for the curtain call. Guess I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I'm waiting for the curtain call. Guess I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Steve Freeman Podcast. We were off last week. We were not going to be off last week, but my kids were on spring break, so I thought, okay, I'll take spring break too. It wasn't hard to convince me to do. So it was kind of like one of those things where it was like, okay, enough. Get a couple tech things out of the way. As you'll notice, tonight, I'm not using the RE27. I have yet to do a podcast in here in the podcast studio, the dedicated Steve Freeman podcast studio, with the SM7B. So literally at the last second, I was like literally running in here, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to use the SM7 tonight. So I ran in there and grabbed it and came in here and hooked it up. So I wanted to use it. I wanted to see what it sounded like. A lot of people have asked. There's a lot of stuff on forums and things of people saying that the gain is not enough on the Rodecaster Pro to drive the SM7. I'll have you know that's a completely fabricated lie. I'm using it right now. I've got the fader at 5 down, which is just a little bit above 5 down, which is about unity gain. And I don't have the gain set up any louder internally than I was using with the RE27. So if anybody tells you that the Shure SM7B can't be driven with the gain that comes with the Rodecaster Pro, they're lying. We're using it right now. As everybody starts to filter in, we are live tonight on YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to tell you right now, we've cut out Facebook. So we're not going to be simulcasting to Facebook anymore. If that like bothers you and you can't stand it, and you were a Facebook viewer, you've got two options. One, you can just stop watching the podcast altogether, which I don't want you to do, but it's an option. Option number 2, start watching on YouTube and start watching on Twitch. Those are your two options. But to me, in all honesty, I don't feel that there were that many. The numbers were not great enough to continue to pay to be able to simulcast on Facebook. Because as soon as this is over, it's stored video on demand with YouTube and Twitch. I can post either one of those links to Facebook. Facebook is just not able to watch live. So that's the deal. Just a couple changes. I may at some point go back to simulcasting to Facebook. I don't know if I will or not. I mean, it's only $20 a month. It's nothing. But I just, to me, it's like, I think I have my bases covered. And I've made no bones about it. I'm not a fan of Facebook. So we did, however, pick up a crucial piece of tech that we will be adding on next week's show. Actually, yes, I will be here next. I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing next week. I will be here for the show next week. I didn't think I was going to be, or I thought it was going to have to be from the road, which will in a couple of weeks when I'm in Los Angeles. We will do the Steve Freeman podcast live from LA. But we will also start adding in Instagram Live to this. I've picked up the piece of gear that I need to be able to come out of the Rodecaster Pro into this audio device that then goes into one of the extra iPhone 10s that I've got laying around, which gives the people watching on Instagram the same audio quality and level that you're hearing watching on YouTube or Twitch. So that's something that we're going to be doing next week. I was going to do it tonight, in all honesty. I forgot about it. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, I wanted to try the SM7. So that became of utmost importance instead of hooking up the thing with the extra iPhone 10. We will experiment with that next week. It's good to see you guys coming in, no matter where you're watching from. If you are watching on Twitch, welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome to you. Like Tech for Your Needs, he's in here. Ring Roundup's in here. Also, the Analog Circle podcast is in the house. What's up, brother? What's happening with you, man? Good to see you in here. We are going to get to Q&A section of the show a little bit later. Don't hesitate to ever put your comments in, because I will store them and I will read them or your questions. Tonight, there's two things that I wanted to talk about, because I kind of got into a Twitch fight. This is my first Twitch fight yesterday. This is what you get for going on and watching other people's streams. But they started talking about Article 13. And, of course, we now know that Article 13 has passed in the UE. Now, it's not going into, matter of fact, it's not even final. It's passed, and we're going to talk about all the details coming up here in just a little bit about Article 13. But yesterday, I got into a little Twitch fight, if you will, with a streamer. I didn't consider it a fight, but she was getting extremely annoyed at me making my points. And I will talk about that. I have nothing against the streamer whatsoever. But in all honesty, where I'm coming from, this is a professional who makes his living from copyrights, right? So does it upset me when people use the content that I've created for free and they make money off of it and I don't? Absolutely. Her comment, one of her comments is that I already make enough money. We're going to get into that as well. Then she also accused me of not knowing what I was talking about. And I'm like, well, the gold and platinum records on my wall and the 30 years I've been in the entertainment business, I know what I'm talking about. And, she's a 20-something that has grown up where everything should be free. So we're going to talk about that, because Article 13 is going to bring, no matter what form that it ends up being in, Article 13 is going to mean radical change in the copyright laws in the European Union. Now, it has to go through several steps. It's not law. It's not passed. It has to be reviewed. It has to be debated. But they do things different over there on the other side of the pond than we do them here. And that's fine. That's great. I've said it before, if we all did things the exact same, how boring would life be? How boring would the world be if the process for everybody was exactly the same? And I don't want it to be that way. I don't think anybody else wants it to be that way. But I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to say about Article 13. And I'm having to lower the level because it's a little hot, just for those of you keeping track of will the Rodecaster Pro not drive an SM7. I'm having to back the gain down. There you go. Just a side note on that. Copyright is very important. I have a question that I'm going to throw out there, and I would love for anybody that wants to engage in debate with me on this. I highly encourage you to do so. I mean, I know a lot about it. I mean, I own 3 publishing companies. I know a lot about content creation, copyright law. When it's your business and it's how you make your living, you tend to know or find out as much as humanly possible so that you can be armed with information. I am totally up for healthy debate tonight on the podcast as far as Article 13 goes. And I know that a lot of my podcasting streamer friends, gamer friends, Twitch friends that live across the pond, this is going to affect them a lot more than what the Music Modernization Act here in the United States is affecting songwriters, composers, and content creators. I think Article 13 goes a little bit too far as it's currently proposed, and we will talk about that. But like I said, I encourage healthy debate. If you want to make your point, you can type it in chat. You can put it there. You guys know me. I'm certainly not going to hold back my opinion and what I think. I will just preference this and warn you all right now that I am right 100% of the time. So you may think you're right, but unless you share the same opinion I share, then you're not right. But I'm more than willing and open to hearing what your opinion is. With that basis, let's get started. I want to start by how this unfolded yesterday with a Twitch streamer. I'm not going to say the name, but she was talking about that it was absolutely going to kill the industry. And this is where I want to start for those of, in Europe. Here's where I want to start with this, because I'm anxious to see how many of you agree with me and how many of you disagree with me. And if you disagree with me, don't just tell me that you don't agree with me. Tell me why you don't agree with me. Here's the fundamental problem that I have. if you are a content creator, if you are a streamer, if you have a YouTube channel, if you are incapable of creating original content without using copywritten material, then you aren't an original content creator. That's my problem. Everybody's worried about, oh, we're going to be shut down. We're not going to have access to YouTube. We're not going to. The answer to the problem is to not use copywritten material, period, end of story, without proper licensing and proper permissions. It's easy to do. I've said it multiple times on my YouTube channel. I get copyright stricken about every other video that I put up because I use my own music or music that I've written for another artist that I still own 50% of the publishing, which I am legally allowed to use that music no matter if Taylor Swift cut it or Ariana Grande cut it or Keith Urban cut it, or it doesn't matter. I still own 50% of the copyright. So I am well within my legal rights to use that music in my YouTube videos. Now, that doesn't mean that YouTube's not going to hear it. YouTube is not on the back end, neither is Twitch, with this magical algorithm and formula that ties all of those parts together so that when a song is used, they don't know that I wrote it. Sure, it's in all the metadata information, should be. That is the record label's responsibility. When an artist cuts a song, all of that information should be included in the ISRC code and the metadata so that that's known. These platforms like YouTube and Twitch are going to have to do a better job of having that recognition software and AI on the back end to put those two things together. So when I use a song that I've written in one of my videos, inevitably, I get the email from YouTube and I get the message on my channel that this video cannot be monetized or has been demonetized because there's a copyright strike. Now, what's interesting about that is I always have to go in, email the team at YouTube, which is, I have to say, is phenomenal with this. They are great. I email them. What's funny is when you send that initial email, they will tell you, so-and-so has filed a copyright claim against this video. And then they tell you who it was. What's funny is that it's always the company that represents my rights, my publishing company. And then in some cases, it even says my name. And then I'm like, YouTube, I'm not copyright striking myself, I assure you. But every time I go in and I say, look, my name is Steve Freeman. My publishing company is Vices versus Music with CSAC. Here's everything you need to know, blah, 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 blah. And then they email me back within 24 hours and go, Mr. Freeman, the copyright strike has been removed. Thank you very much for following our process. We appreciate you being a valued creator on the platform. Is it a bitch every time they copyright strike me to go through that process and do that? Yes, it's absolutely. But you know what? The first time it happened, I really got pissed off. I'll be real honest with you. I got pissed off. I'm like, this is my song. I own it. I wrote it. This shouldn't be happening. And I got really upset. Then I stopped and I thought for a second. You know, as inconvenient as it is, what this is YouTube protecting my intellectual property. It's YouTube protecting my physical property. And it's protecting my copyright. Now, one could look at it that way. You could also look at it that YouTube's covering its own ass because they don't want me coming back around and suing them for allowing somebody to use copywritten material in their video because they may have it monetized and they're going to make money using my music that I'm not going to get paid for. So then I started to slow down and I started to think about it. And then I realized that this is really a good thing to have. Is it inconvenient? It's absolutely inconvenient. But guys, we cannot have people using content that they did not create and they do not own for free. It cannot happen. One of the girls' arguments yesterday was that I make enough money anyway. I make enough money off of radio airplay and album sales and all of that I shouldn't be worried about the money that I'm missing from streaming. That argument gets all over me because to me, that's socialism. When you tell me how much money you think I should make and that I shouldn't be worried about that money, when you go to your job every day, What if your employer just said, you don't need to worry about that? Or take overtime, for example. What if your job, if you're supposed to work 40 hours a week, but your job consistently makes you work 75 to 80 hours a week, but they don't pay you for those extra 35 or 40 hours. And they tell you, you make enough during your 40 hours. You don't need the extra money. How would you feel? But see, this is where it gets down really to a conversation that I think is important. And that is, everybody wants to be a content creator. Everybody wants to make videos. Everybody wants to write songs. Everybody wants to be a famous artist. Everybody wants their YouTube channel to grow. Everybody wants to be a popular streamer on Twitch. Everybody wants all of this stuff. But when it comes down to things like this, and it affects, somehow, somewhere, those of us that want to be the most creative out of everyone look at other creators as less than. It's that whole thing I've said before. I can't tell you the number of times I've been on an airplane headed to LA or somewhere, and I'll sit down next to somebody, and you inevitably get lost in that airline chatter. And it eventually comes around to, well, what do you do for a living? I'm a song. Oh, that's awesome. But no, I mean, what do you do for a living? I write songs. I'm a songwriter. No, I mean, that's great. I admire people who can do that. But what do you do for money? Like, what's your job? See, we don't get the respect that we're asking from one another. Like her yesterday. It shouldn't be. It should be free. You shouldn't be worried about that extra money. Well, I've done this for 25 years. I'm married. I've been married for 20 years. I've got 2 kids, one about to go into college. I've got a mortgage. I've got several cars. I've got commitments. I've got electric bills. I've got gas bills, trash bills, water bills. I've got bills. So can we call each one of my mortgage company, the people that have the car notes, and the electric company, and give them that excuse? Well, I can't pay you because the people who are responsible for paying me say, I didn't need that extra money. They think I've got enough already. We as a creative community have got to support one another. And by support one another, I'm not talking about leaving comments on each other's YouTube videos. I'm not talking about leaving likes on people's YouTube videos or hosting or rating people's streams so that they can grow. I'm talking about realizing that if you are a content creator, you should value your own product and expect that of other people. If you are creating something and somebody else is using it for personal or financial gain, and they're using your product for it, and you're not getting paid, that is wrong. It is absolutely, unequivocally, 100% wrong. I get pissed off when I go to check out a new streamer's stream, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching the stream, I'm entertained, I can hear the music in the background, and then all of a sudden a song I wrote 5 years ago plays, and I know I'm not getting paid, and there's 10,000 people watching this stream or more. I got into this with the streamer about this yesterday. I said, that's not right. Well, I have Spotify Premium. Well, Spotify Premium, when you pay for that, it covers your personal, private use. It doesn't cover the use for you to pay for it and then let 30,000 people listen to it on your stream. It doesn't cover that. It covers you using it, one use. Now, if you want to be able to do that, then you got to do what clubs and restaurants and venues that have music playing in the background do. And that is, you need to apply for a commercial license, or you need to go to some place like Muzak. You've seen those signs, M-U-Z-A-K. That's what they do. But those companies pay the royalties to ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, and overseas collectors for performance royalties. They pay their share. When you walk into a restaurant, look, especially if you're in the United States, not so much overseas, but if you're in the United States, the next time you walk into a restaurant, look at the door where all of like their health department stickers and all that things are. You will see an ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC sticker, or all three. Every restaurant that plays music while you're eating, or has a performer that's singing music or playing music while you're eating, or if you're at a sports venue or anywhere that uses music, they all pay licensing fees and royalties to the performing rights organizations to be able to play that music for the people that are at their venue or at their establishment. They pay. When you're at a base, I get a, I don't remember how much it is, but for whatever reason, one of the songs I wrote with Jason Charles Miller, the Pittsburgh Pirates play it in the 7th inning stretch at every home game. It's called The Way You Still Want Me. They play it every season, almost every game, home game. I get a check for that. That is included in my statement as earned income because the Pittsburgh Pirates are paying the royalties to be able to play that music for the crowd. So then I get hit with this argument, and I get hit with this argument a lot. Well, you should just consider it free advertising. I don't know why all of you people get so upset, all you songwriters. It's just grubby. Y'all are killing the music industry. You ought to just look at streaming as free advertising. Okay, there's several problems with this, and I will walk through this and step you through it. Number one, could it be considered advertising? Yes, it could be considered advertising. The problem is that you are advertising for a product that nobody buys. Right? It would almost be like if you owned a car dealership and people were advertising the fact that you sold Ford Pintos for free. Nobody wants one. Nobody's buying music. Everybody's streaming music. Since the advent of streaming in Apple Music and Spotify and Deezer and all of these other streaming platforms, all of them, record sales have declined 70%. Nobody's buying music. So you can't sell me that it's good. And let me tell you this too. As the songwriter, do we make money when something sells? Yes. But here's the way that kind of breaks down. It's right at 9 cents for the song. So if I wrote it with 3 other people, let's say there were 4 of us, that 9 cents gets divided 4 different ways. So if somebody should hear somebody streaming something and then decide to go buy it, I'm lucky to make hardly anything at all. That's why things have to sell in the hundreds of thousands and millions of units for us to make the kind of money that we're used to making. You can say that's right. You can say that's wrong. But see, we didn't used to have a problem when the artists we were writing songs for were selling 25, 30 million records. Right? We didn't write with as many people then. Most of the time it was 1 or 2 people writing it. So when I was getting 9 cents and a record and my song was on a record that sold 30 million copies, I made money. I made jack. I made a lot of it. But now records, even the successful artists, I think I said this on a podcast or maybe in a video not too long ago, but 15 years ago, if you sold 1 million units, you were considered an absolute failure. A record label would drop you if you only sold 1 million units. You were a failure. The entry bar was 5 million. That's where you started, okay, this is a successful act. They're selling music. Today, if you sell 1 million, they are throwing parties. It looks like Mardi Gras on Music Row. That's how the business has changed. Okay, so it's about 9 cents split among how many ever writers were on that song. Now, in country music, things are a little bit different. In rock music, things are more like they are in country. But let's take a look at pop music for just a second. Look at a cover of a Beyonce record. There are 13 writers on most of the songs. You've got the producer gets a writing credit, the actual writer gets a writing credit, and that's split between the other writers. The guy sweeping up the floor gets a songwriting credit. If somebody added a part or a loop, they get a songwriting credit. So that 9 cents then gets distributed equally among those 13 people. So you end up getting less than a penny each. I know I'm not good at math, but it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all. Now you want to talk about streaming. We get paid every time one of our songs gets streamed. We get paid 0.0000854 cents. Less than a penny. Less than a fraction of a penny. Matter of fact, it's less than a quarter of a penny every time it's streamed. I can have something get streamed 30 million times and I make less than $1,000. Now, I can tell you that it's not good advertising because we're not seeing royalties coming in from increased sales from people hearing that song streamed and then going and buying it. It's not happening. It's almost like that whole adage of, okay, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? It's the same thing. Why buy the music when you can stream the music for free? People are choosing to stream. They are not buying music. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't buy music, but by a large majority, people don't buy music anymore. They stream music. Why would you? If you are still buying music, it kills me to say this, but you're an idiot. And we appreciate your support, but you're an idiot. When you can pay $10 a month to Spotify and listen to anything all day, forever, for less than 2 Starbucks Frappuccinos a month. No ads, no nothing. So the whole advertising thing, that makes no sense, and the numbers are not in your favor. Record sales are in the toilet, and they have been for 10 years, steadily declining, going down, 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 almost to the point where within 3 years, if you haven't seen the story, look it up. There will be no iTunes. You won't be able to buy music. It's going away. They're going solely to streaming. So don't hit me with the advertising, because that doesn't work. Also, would you ever ask, let's take Starbucks. Everybody knows how much I love Starbucks. Let's take Starbucks here for a second. Does the same analogy apply? What do you think would happen if Starbucks gave, for every 1,000 cups of coffee, they only charged for one? How long do you think they'd be in business? Well, I mean, why not? I mean, don't they sell enough coffee as it is? They don't need that extra money. They make enough money off of that one cup. I mean, this is what other content creators are saying. And it's turning into a battle of content creators against content creators. I'm not going to sacrifice my income so that you can use my music that I wrote and that I own while you stream. And all the other content creators out there, just don't use copywritten material in your stuff. Period. And there wouldn't be a problem. And actually, Article 13, if you dig in and you read very closely, Article 13 is more going after the YouTubes, the Twitches, the Amazons, the Googles, the actual corporations themselves, to make sure that they are paying for the copyrights that they are allowing people to use on their platforms. I don't see what the problem with that is. Because, I mean, to me, I'm sitting here thinking about it, and let's say, how could we put this? Let's go back to Starbucks. Let's say that you are Starbucks. You own Starbucks. And you have put 20 years into building your brand, developing your logo, making it an icon that is recognized worldwide. Everybody knows Starbucks. Now, let's say I come along and I lease the space right next to your store. I rip off your logo. I just take your logo. I put it out in front of my store. My colors are green. I make my store an identical replica of your store. It looks exactly like your store. The only difference is, at your store, a cup of coffee is $5, but I give it away for free. So how long do you think people are still going to walk into your store and pay for it when they get the exact same thing for free? Because all I'm doing is going over and getting my coffee at Starbucks and bringing it over to my store and giving it away. How would you feel? Because that's exactly what's happening. I get that people are frustrated. I understand. They're worried about losing their YouTube channels. They're worried about losing their Twitch streams. Just make sure that you're protecting yourself, that you aren't using copywritten material. It is too easy to obtain the proper licensing. It's too easy. Is it going to cost you some money? It's absolutely going to cost you some money. But when did we enter this whole thing of everything should be free? Somebody tell me. I had somebody the other day on Twitter say something about, well, you should be doing it for the passion. And I'm like, okay, well, I tell you what, as soon as my mortgage company takes passion as payment, I'll start doing it for passion again. I think at times we come up with what sounds good in our head, like we all try to be Gary Vee and we're trying to come up with this clever little thing that we're going to spout out and we're going to say because it sounds really fucking cool to say, but in the real world, it's non-applicable. Like that. You should do your job for passion. Well, the gas station doesn't take passion, last time I checked. I can't fit passion into my wallet. My kid's school won't take passion for payment. Mortgage. Live in the real world. And that's my problem. That is my big problem with millennials. And this is me getting old. But see, they've grown up in this thing where everything should be free. School should be free. Coffee should be free. Music should be free. Everything. I went to school, forgive my student loan debt. Everything should be free. Except when they go to work, they expect to get a paycheck at the end of the 2 weeks or the end of the month. Why don't here's what I tell you, I'll start working for free when you do. How about that? All these kids want to do all these things. They want to invent all these amazing things. They want to be content creators because nobody wants to work anymore. Now everybody just wants to be fucking Instagram famous and make money for doing absolutely nothing. My argument back is then do it for free. Do it for the passion. Don't you have a passion for taking pictures of yourself? I mean, obviously, you do it 13 times a minute. There's a guy I kept track of last week that tweets every 5 seconds. I don't even know how he does it. I don't know if he stays up overnight and just gets out a Word document and just types all these tweets out and then auto-tweets them. I swear to God, he tweets every 5 to 10 seconds. But we've become so self-absorbed that when something comes up that challenges that ability to be self-absorbed, all of a sudden everybody else is the enemy. I want to read a couple things to you here because a lot of you may not know exactly what Article 13 is. And here in the United States, Article 13 doesn't affect us one single bit. Not at all. It's all in Europe. I want to read you some facts. Article 13 of the proposal for a directive of the European Parliament and of the Council on Copyright in the digital single market, that's its full name, is an attempt to reshape copyright law for the internet age. Not a bad thing. We've talked before about, this is something else I got into her about yesterday. She said I had no idea what I was talking about. And I said, because in the United States, we just passed the Music Modernization Act. It's the first time that copyright laws had been updated since 1944. In her stream, I said it was the first time in 100 years. I mistaked. I slipped up. It's only been 80. It's 80-something. Sorry. But I think updating these laws, because they're archaic, we live in a different time. There's different technology. The laws need to stay up to date to protect copyright owners, just like protecting patent owners. Same thing. She told me copyright hadn't been around 100 years, which, there again, she's 20-something years old, okay, knows nothing about the world. It's based around the relationship between copyright holders and online platforms, compelling the online platforms to enforce tighter regulation over protected content. Now, here's one of the things that I wanted to propose to the streamer, and we just didn't have enough time. She was ending her stream, and I had already thoroughly pissed her off, which is fine. I do that to everybody, and I love it. But here's where I wanted to go. It's protected content. How would you, as a person that had a successful YouTube channel or a Twitch stream, I'm going to say Twitch stream because it's relevant to what I was talking with her about yesterday. Let's say that you are a Twitch streamer and you've put thousands and thousands of hours and weeks, months, years into growing your Twitch stream. And let's say that you're one of the top 20% of the streamers. Let's say you have 20,000 subscribers. And there again, I'm not good at math. If anybody's in the chat's better at math than I am, or if you got a calculator handy, help me out here and you can type it in chat. But here's the thing. Let's say you've got 20,000 subscribers and you have built this community and you have built it up from nothing, and now you've got 20,000 subscribers. Well, on Twitch, if you're a partner, that we're not even going to talk partner because every partner almost has a different deal with Amazon and Twitch as far as what the split is when somebody subscribes to the channel. So let's back down. We'll go down to affiliate status, which is pretty much half. So it's $5 a month to subscribe to a Twitch channel. When you reach affiliate status with Twitch, you get half of that. So let's say $2.50. So let's say after all these years, you have developed this. You're one of the most popular people on Twitch. You have streamed your butt off. You've come up with all this original content, and you're putting on a show every day for these people. You've built it up. You've got 20,000 subscribers, and you're just an affiliate, and you're making $2.50 for every single one of those subscribers. Somebody in chat, how much is 20,000 times $2.50? It should be, it's 40,000. What is that? Is it 60,000? Something around there? I don't even have a calculator. Wait a minute. Do I have a calculator on here? I do. So y'all, chat's not responding fast enough. I got to do this shit myself. All right. 20,000 subscribers times $2.50. That is $50,000. I should have known that. God, I told you guys, I am not good at math. $50,000 a month is what you're making. You're rolling along and you're thinking, okay, man, I'm happy. This is the life that I wanted. I've worked hard for it. I developed this community. I earned that $50,000 a month, and I'm just, this is me and I'm happy. Okay, now let's say that Twitch comes to you and says, we're changing our policy. Here's what we're going to do. You're no longer going to make $2.50. We're going to pay you less than a penny for each one of your subscribers. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to feature your stream on the front page of Twitch every day because it's great advertising for you. It's free advertising. It's not going to cost you a thing. But where you were making $2.50 before, now you are making $50,000 a month. Now we're going to pay you less than a penny per month for each one of your subscribers. So what does that leave us? Let's see. I'm probably going to do it wrong again, but let's see. Let's see what that 20,000 subscribers times 0.01. Your $50,000 a month just went down to $200 a month. That sounds drastic, but that's exactly what is going on with songwriters, producers, and copyright owners. And that is exactly what you are expecting us to deal with and smile while it's happening. You are not only asking us to allow them to fuck us, you're asking us to go out and go to Walgreens and buy the lube for them. So think about that very carefully. Does that scenario sound drastic? It does, but that is exactly what all of these people that are complaining about Article 13 are saying, that that's okay. It's okay that that happens to me because I should want to give my product for free. It's free advertising. Like I said, hey, all of you people, you got 20,000 subs on your Twitch channel. You're not going to make $2.50 anymore, or whatever your partner agreement is. And some of them, it's 90%. So we're going to take all of that and we're going to pay you less than a penny a month for each one of your subs. Now tell me who all of you guys are going to be fine with that. Who's going to be happy with that? Nobody. That's what you're asking songwriters like me to be okay with. So I get a little upset and I get a little heated when you look at me and you tell me that the things that I've created are not worth what they should be worth and that you don't value them at all. And I see the thing of it is I don't need you to tell me that you don't value my product. I don't need you to, because you don't buy music. At $10 a month paying for a Spotify premium membership, you're still fucking stealing my music. You're still stealing it. Now, we as songwriters and producers, we have had to come to terms with streaming. This is where things are going. People are not buying music because of streaming, so we have to get on board with it. And in the United States, we have passed the Music Modernization Act, which will call for a 44% increase over the next 5 years. So not even a 10% increase over the next 5 years. So right now, if I get $1,000 for 30 million spins, I'm going to get 1,400. So it's not like it's going to impact that income. Now, what I told her yesterday in the chat, and I'll be real honest, do I make a lot of money? Yes. When I produce a record, do I make a lot of money producing a record? Yes. But I do that because I'm one of the best at it. I'm one of the best in the business. I do it because I'm not charging you for time. I'm charging you for experience. But when you come to me and you say that, then I shouldn't be worried about streaming income. Put yourself in a position where mommy and daddy aren't paying the bills, where you're not living off of the government, or you're not a student that's living off your student loans, or you're not living off grandma and grandpa. You're an adult out here in the real world paying for yourself. Now let me come to you and tell you that you make too much money. That because of your hard work and the years that you have put into doing and becoming an expert at what it is that you do, that is not valuable. That I'm going to make a decision to use your content because you've already made enough money off of it. Guys, that's wrong. And most of the people that are making that argument on that side haven't created anything of any fucking value. Let's just throw that out there. And I understand that's going to piss a lot of you off, but it doesn't affect any of you because you're not creating shit people want. That's an issue. Jump on my side of the fence. Be really ultimately successful at something and then watch people take it away from you. When you're sitting over there and you've got 100 people watching your fucking stream, that's not success. Watching a live concert DVD of stadium tours and 80,000 people sing the words to your song, that's success. People all over the world knowing it, that's success. That's doing something that has left a mark, that has imprinted. Songwriters, other songwriters out there, there are less than 1%. Listen to this. This is amazing. And look, guys, look. I'm an arrogant asshole. I'm the first person to put it out there. But I'm not trying to be that way in saying some of the things that I'm saying. I'm just stating facts. There are less than 1% of the entire world's population creating the content that the other 99% are absorbing. Think about that for a second. And you want to look at us and you want to say that we don't deserve to get paid for that. We don't deserve to get paid for making the music that makes the world go round, that changes people's lives. The ultimate argument here is those that are against it have not created anything of value. You've not created anything so valuable that it wouldn't destroy your life if somebody took it away from you. Try creating something. Try creating something important. Try creating something valuable. And see, I didn't have loans and all this. I had to do it with, of course, help from family. Help me get started. Absolutely. If it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be sitting here today, because who wants to hear their kids say, I don't want to go to college. I want to move to Nashville and write songs for a living. Nobody. No parent ever wants to hear that, ever. No parent ever wants to hear, I'm not going to college. I'm going to be a YouTube star, or I'm going to be a popular Twitch streamer. Nobody wants to hear that. But over the last 30 years, I have struggled. I think I've talked about this on my podcast before. I didn't get here without struggle. I've lost everything, absolutely everything, to get where I am today. I have sacrificed. My wife, we've been married 20 years. She's seen every sacrifice, and she has felt it probably 10 times more than I have, because, see, the sacrifice was worth it to me, because it was my goal. It was my dream So it didn't hurt me that much when we sacrificed. But did it hurt my wife? Absolutely. Has it hurt my kids? Absolutely. But I worked hard to get here. I have the scars to prove it. There has been blood, sweat, tears, failure, repossessions. I've lost everything in the pursuit of this. So now, when I finally achieved it, you want to turn around and look at me and you want to tell me that what I do is not valuable and it's not worth it? But yet you sure don't mind popping up your Spotify and playing it for your 100 people watching your stream. Try creating something of value and then having somebody else take a piss on it. It's not right. Okay, I went off on a tangent. Back to more about Article 13 in particular. According to the article, those platform providers should, and when we talk about platform providers, we are talking about YouTube, Google, Amazon, Apple, not the individual content creators, the platforms in which these content creators use to push out their creator, their videos and content. According to the article, those platform providers should take measures to ensure the functioning of agreements concluded with right shareholders for the use of their works and or other subject matter, or to prevent the availability on their services of works or other subject matter identified by rights holders through the cooperation with the service providers. Not individual content creators, but the service providers. Again, the service providers are YouTube, Apple, Amazon, Twitch, all of the content creation platforms. This article is going to make them, if it fully goes through, will make them comply to make sure that they are not allowing content creators to use copywritten material. I don't understand what's wrong with that. I don't think that you can call yourself a content creator if you are relying on using somebody else's creation to make your creation better. Get the fuck better at what you do. Don't come use my music that I've written, that I own, to make you look better and to make your stream more entertaining. Don't do it. Spend 20 years developing your own craft and developing your own content. Copyright your own stuff. I don't understand the other side of the argument. I really don't. I'd give anything. And the girl yesterday was just not an idiot. She's a 20-something-year-old kid that doesn't know anything about the real world. Nothing. It goes on to read, those measures talking about against the service providers should be, quote, appropriate and proportionate. And the platform should provide rights holders with adequate reporting on the recognition and use of the works and other subject matter. What's wrong with that? All they're asking is that these different platforms pay the content creators properly and proportionately according to their use. Now, here's the thing. Everybody thinks that because the internet, that everything should be free. Movies should be free. Music should be free. Well, Victoria's Secret isn't shipping you bras and panties for free. It's so funny what people are willing to pay for and what they value and what they don't. There again, you don't walk into Starbucks and expect them to give you free coffee. I don't understand. Article 13 is asking these platforms to make sure that if they are using the content, that they are paying appropriately and adequately reporting when those copywritten material is used. I've done a lot of stuff for TV and film over the years. Some of this stuff I'm going to say you guys may not know. You just may not know it, and that's okay. I don't look down on you because you don't know it. This is not your profession. Here, all the stuff that I've done for TV and film, whether I've written songs for the show Nashville, True Blood, then the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Films, the whole 9 yards. They don't get to use the songs that I've written in music or in movies, television shows, any of that without paying me for it. That's Netflix, that's Amazon, none of them. It's called sync licensing. Those production companies for those TV shows or those films, they contact my publisher. They contact CSAC. They contact and find out who the songwriters are, and then they pay a sync license to have the master usage of that song. When that license gets paid, if I'm the producer, I get it all, if I own the master. But even if I'm not, if I was just a songwriter, I get paid because that production company is paying the licensing fee to be able to use my music. What I don't understand is why, just because we're talking about the internet, why should it be any different? Why should YouTube not be just as liable? And again, I want to go back and say YouTube does an amazing job. Considering the amount of users that YouTube has on the platform, the amount of videos that are getting uploaded to YouTube every second, I think YouTube does an amazing job of copyright striking videos and then asking, like they do with me, and then asking people, oh, you're the copyright holder? Okay, that's easy to find out. Oh, boom, Mr. Freeman, we see you are the copyright holder. We'll remove that strike immediately. And they do. What is it? What is it about it being the internet that people think everything should be free? It's like whatever you want to access on there, it should be free. The funny thing with that argument is I don't know around the rest of the world. I mean, some places it is, but 85 to 90% of those that are on the internet right now watching this, you don't get free internet. You want everything on the damn thing to be for free, but you're paying to be on it. And that little measly whatever it is you're paying is not enough to cover the rights to use everything that's on the internet. It's impossible. So, yeah, you can tell I get a little hot under the collar over this stuff. Back to the article. Critics of the proposed Article 13 claim that the article violates the fundamental rights of internet users. I had a hard time with that one. I'm going to read that one again. Critics of the proposed directive claim that Article 13 violates the fundamental rights of internet users, contradicts rules previously established by the UE's e-commerce directive, and misunderstands the way people engage with material on the internet. Memes, remixes, and other types of user-generated content would all be put at risk, they claim, as these could technically be seen as breaches of copyright. Okay, here's the thing. They could be seen as breaches of copyright because they are breaches of copyright. You can't take a song that I own and remix it and put it out for free. You can't do it. I know you want to, but you can't. You've got to obtain the correct compulsory and mechanical licenses to be able to use content that I own in anything you want to remix. Memes could be a little bit different because sometimes it can be difficult to determine who is the rights holder of this particular picture or this or that. That's why if you ever look up like an image on YouTube, it always, or on Google, it always says it right down there at the bottom, this image may be subject to copyright. Here's the thing, guys. It is on you. It is on you to figure out who the copyright owner is. Not to go, oh, it's not right there. I don't know who it is. I'll just fucking steal this shit for free. It doesn't work that way. And those of you that have a problem with it or are complaining, it's because you don't own it. If you owned it, I guarantee you, you would have a problem with it. That's why I think it's great when you pull up images or something like that on Google. Getty is the most world famous, and they're the best, and the Associated Press, they stamp all those pictures. It's property of Getty Images. If you want to use it, you can pay for the right to use it. I am blown away with what's going on in society now to where this whole thing of everything should just be free. It says it right here. I'm going to read it again. Critics of the proposed directive claim that Article 13 violates the fundamental rights of internet users. Somebody tell me what is a fundamental right of an internet user. See, this is where it gets hairy. I mean, do you think because you're using the internet that you pay $50 I pay, what do I pay here? I've got fiber, and I think we pay $80 a month for fiber. I mean, I've got a gig up and a gig down. I'm happy. But just because I pay $80 a month to access a service, that does not mean that anything I want on it should be free. That's like, you know, this is a perfect analogy. Walking up to a nightclub, paying $5 cover charge, and thinking that, well, when I get in there, you get up to the bar and you order a drink, and they're like, that'll be $6.95, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. I just paid a cover charge to get in here. I figured after I paid my $5 that everything in here was free. That's the way that we're treating it. You think that's the only thing that I can, through research that I found, is that they believe that the fundamental rights of internet users, they think that paying for the entrance, paying for the gateway to get into the internet via their internet service provider means that they have covered to pay for rights for anything they want to consume, anything they want to download, anything they want to do. It doesn't work that way. Again, go up to a nightclub, pay $5 to get in, and then see what happens at the bar when you tell them that you think all the drinks should be free because you paid a cover charge. It doesn't work that way, guys. I know that a lot of you guys would like to minimalize it to make it seem that way, but let me ask you this. How long would that bar stay in business if it just, you know, charged $5 to get in, but all the drinks were free? You could have all the whiskey, all the bourbon, all the beer. It doesn't matter. You can have as much as you want. Matter of fact, when you get ready to let go, let us know, and we want you to pull your car around back, and we're going to load the back of your car with as many bottles of this shit as you want. That's what you're acting like. That's the only thing I can come up with as far as fundamental rights of internet users. To me, the only fundamental right I have as an internet user is the right to access it. Period. I have the right to use it. I don't have the right to take anything from it unless somebody gives me permission. Period. This boils down to obtaining permission and people thinking that whatever they want, they should get. It's this whole thing, and I think it all goes all the way back to being a kid and how we're growing up now, and you're on a sports team, and you lose every fucking game of the season, but everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a trophy. There are no losers. Oh, Trump won the presidency? Oh, we have mental health counselors on staff. If you need to take 3 or 4 weeks off from work paid, we understand to grieve over it. We're here for you. Here's your trophy. It's ridiculous. We are bringing up a generation of freeloaders who think everything should be free except for what it is that they have. Try getting something from them for free. Because, see, they're a gimme, what's next generation. And I find that odd. You want me to work for free, but you would never do it. Well, I have operated my entire career and my entire life that I don't ask other people to do what I'm not willing to do myself. So I think a lot of these people need to stop and take a reality moment. And I think that's a big part of it, is that I think a lot of these people is because, let's face it, content creation, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, this is all relatively new. This is all, past 10, 13 years that, and really in the last 5 to 6, 7 years, has it become a legitimate career path. So this is all relatively new. And I think a lot of these people grew up in a bubble where whether it's parents or family or schools or whatever, are completely insulating these kids to where the real world never gets in. The way that our body, do you know what, those of you that don't know, this is another great analogy. I'm on top of it tonight, folks. I'm on top. Do you know what the flu shot is? They are injecting you with influenza. They are giving you a bit of influenza to trick your body into thinking that you've already had it, and also to build up an immunity to it. See, what we've done with people now in this, you can be anything you want to be. If you want to be president of the United States, you can be. No, you can't. You want to play starting forward for the Lakers? You can do that. You can do anything. No, you fucking can't. You can't be what you want to be. You can be what you work your ass off to become. But we put these people in a bubble, and we don't let anything, no virus in, no bacteria in, no adverse opinions, no other world thinking. Only what we want to control goes in that bubble. So when things like this start to happen, it's almost like the bubble gets popped, and for the first time, they're exposed to the real world, the world that the rest of us live in, the world where those of us have to work for a living. We have mortgages to pay. We have kids. We have food to buy. We have gas to put in our cars. And all of a sudden, we don't have all these other people that were outside the bubble controlling our environment, paying for all that. What it boils down to is you people are fucking lazy. That's what it boils down to. You haven't ever had to pay anything in your life, or if you did, another thing I've noticed is the people that do keep their life so minimalistic so that they can say, well, I pay my bills. And it's like, awesome, dude, you're living in a $600 a month apartment. Congratulations. Are you fucking happy? You've made it. You can say you pay your own way. You take the bus, you ride a bicycle, and you live in a shithole apartment. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to work my ass off and accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish. And if that happens to come with great financial gain, that I've been fortunate enough, then guess what? You didn't give me shit. I earned it. I earned every step of it. And all I ask those people to do is do the exact same thing. Stop whining, bitching, moaning, and complaining about having to pay for stuff. Go out, work, earn the money. Not only does it give you a sense of pride and accomplishment, which many of them don't know, because they've grown up in a society where the only way they feel pride and accomplishment is if they get 100 likes on their Instagram post. That is the source of the the mainstream today, 18 to 35-year-old. Their entire life and self-worth depends on how many likes they got. Go out and work. Get a job. Become proficient at something. Do something over and over and over and over. And now I'm really going to freak you out. Now listen really close. I'm going to get closer to the camera. Listen real close to this. In order for you to find the kind of success that you think is going to come on Instagram or Twitter, number one, it's not. Listen here, Daddy's talking. Number one, it's not. Number two, when you have completely lived your life thinking that somebody else owes you something, you're going to be very sad in your older years. Because those of us that have the money to give you are going to get sick and fucking tired of giving it to you. Because we're eventually going to look at you and go do what we did. This is going to get old. Now, the most important thing, third, and kids, listen up. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to do the one thing that scares the ever-loving shit out of you. And it is the key ingredient to your success. You are going to have to fail. Yes, I said the F word. Video's probably going to get demonetized, but I've said it. I put it out there. You're going to have to fail, and you're going to have to fail a lot, regardless of what your mommy told you and your daddy told you and the immediate 37 people that you choose to surround yourself tell you. When you get out here in the real world, you're going to fail, and you will never succeed without failing, ever. Because in that failure, you learn what it takes to be successful. You learn persistence. You learn consistency. You learn what it feels like to put everything on the line and hit rock bottom. Because I can promise you, if you don't know what rock bottom feels like, you won't recognize it when you're at the top of the mountain. You won't recognize that feeling either. That won't be enough to provide you with that sense of accomplishment. But how I know that, I meet with artists all the time. One recently achieved a milestone in his career. He reached, I think it was 15,000 followers. And I remember hearing him talk about, man, I've got to get to 15,000 followers. I've got to get to 15,000 followers. You know what happened when he reached 15,000 followers? The number changed. Then it was, now I got to reach 20,000. I got to reach 20,000. I just got to hit that 20,000. And guess what? When he hits the 20,000, it's going to be 30. When he hits the 30, it's going to be about 40. When he hits 40, it's going to be about 50. That story never changes, guys. That story never ends. You're going to have to fail. I wish failure for all of you. At least once. I hope you all fail multiple times. That's a horrible thing to say, but I do. Because you will never know what true success feels like until you have felt ultimate failure. When you've been given a ride to the top in a cush car or airplane or anything else, you don't appreciate it. And this is what happens when you have a bunch of people that don't understand and don't appreciate. You have people going, this is gonna wreck our lives. What about the lives, the thousands of people's lives, hundreds of thousands of people's lives that are being wrecked because they do count on that extra streaming money that you think is extra and that we shouldn't care about? There are people relying on that. There are independent artists that rely on that don't have major label deals, that don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that they're getting paid by a publishing company to write songs for them. They don't have that. So when they get that $294 check in the mail for those 655 million streams that they got, that's putting food on their table. It's putting gas in their car to get to the next venue so they can come play for you live. If you are honestly on the side of content creators and you call yourself a content creator, then you should be for. I'm not saying you have to be for Article 13. Some things in Article 13 go way, 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 way too far. But you ought to, how can you call yourself a content creator and have no value for your own creation? I go back to my earlier point, and I say it's because none of you have created anything of value. People could take it away from you, and it's not going to change your life. That means it's not valuable. Is it quality? Absolutely. Is it good? Potentially. But you haven't created something valuable that it would wreck you if you gave it up or if people started stealing it from you. Because that's exactly what's happening. A little bit more on this article. It says the article stipulates that platforms should, quote, prevent the availability of protected works, suggesting the ISSPs, internet service providers, will need to adopt technology that can recognize and filter work created by someone other than the person uploading it. Tell me what's wrong with that. YouTube does it right now. They need to get better at it. Everybody needs to get better at it. But what's wrong with that? This is one of the things Article 13 wants to do. This could infringe fragments of music, pictures, and videos. Of course it could. But just don't upload copywritten material, and you're clear. You're fine. All of this only affects people that are doing it the wrong way and actually using copywritten material. Just don't do it, and it won't be a problem. An example they give is if you've ever been on the internet, you'll know that this remix culture is a key part of how online communities function. The worry is that Article 13 will hinder this and create a type of censorship that ignores nuances in how content can be adapted, quoted, or parodied. Okay. Weird Al Yankovic, some of you may not even know who I'm talking about. He had to pay mechanical and compulsory licenses for Eat It and all of these other songs that he did parodies of. He cannot use those songs, those melodies, those arrangements, those ripoffs, he can't just do that and profit from it. You can't. Look at all the court cases, Vanilla Ice, all of that stuff. You can't do it for free. It's already illegal to do. You guys act like this thing is now going to make this illegal. It's always been illegal. You guys just don't care and are ripping people's content off because you think you're on the internet. It's free. It's not trying to make something illegal that wasn't illegal before. It's already illegal. What Article 13 is wanting to make these platforms do is pay for it when it happens. That's it. Here's what's going on right now. Like I said, nothing's going to change for our friends on the other side of the pond. Nothing's going to change today. As for the immediate future, nothing's going to change. State leaders within the EU still need to sanction the changes before individual countries start hashing out the legal parts of the change. So this is not going into effect at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And as I said in this girl's Twitch stream yesterday, this is them, the proponents, the people that are for it, this is them going all the way to one side. And somewhere between where the actual law will end up being signed and adapted will be more somewhere towards the middle. You've got people that are all the way over here, and you've got people that are all the way over here. What those two people, they've passed all the way over here, but they're not going to be able to sell that to everybody. They will work their way back to the middle, and there will be a compromise. It's the way that the world works. I know some of you don't live in the real world. But that's the way things work when you put your big boy pants on. A particular point of contention is that Article 13, which, were it to come to fruition, would make platforms like YouTube liable for copyrighted material. As such, platforms would require agreements with content producers or whoever owns the right to the music, film, or television being shared. Tell me what's wrong with that. If YouTube is going to allow content creators on its platform to utilize copywritten material, somebody's got to pay for it. Whether it's YouTube or whether it's you, the content creator. And I've said this 100 times before. You, as the content creator, can go obtain the proper licensing to use whatever it is you want to use. It's easy. Music, it's very simple. Go to Harry Fox. It's as simple as it could possibly be. Does that put a kink in your ability to be able to create something today and upload it today so that you can start getting that instant gratification of the likes and comments and views? Yes. Yes, it does. But it means that you're doing it the right way. Again, guys, you cannot walk into the grocery store and fill your buggy and just walk out and push your buggy out and put all of the groceries in the back of the car without getting arrested. Why? Because you don't own those things in the shelf. Just because it's free for you to walk in the store doesn't mean that everything in there is free. That's called theft or burglary or armed robbery if you have a knife in your pocket. What I don't understand, and I'm hoping, and I want to get to some of your guys' comments as well. What I don't understand is why that philosophy, everybody agrees. Everybody agrees. You can't walk into a jewelry store and reach around the back of the counter there and grab that 3-carat diamond, put it on your finger, and walk out the door. Nobody would do that because that's stealing. But you will go grab a piece of music that you don't own and put it in your fucking video. It's the same thing. And one of these days, when you create something that is valuable, you will want to protect it. And I guarantee you that you will be on my side of this, because there is no difference between you grabbing a song that you don't own the rights to and using it, or grabbing a piece of a television show that you don't own the rights to and using it in your video, or you're on Twitch and you're streaming your Spotify and you're using music to entertain your audience that you don't own. It's the same thing as walking into a jewelry store and taking a watch and putting it on your wrist and walking out the door. It's the exact same thing. And if you don't see it that way, then you've never created anything valuable enough that people, A, want to take away from you, or you've never created anything of value that it would hurt you or impact you in a way that if somebody did take it for free, you don't care. That just means you haven't created something that valuable. Okay, that is my hour and 16-minute rant on Article 13. Janelle Wheeler coming in strong with the host. Oh, the raid, 41 people. Welcome in. I'm about to piss every single one of them off, probably. If you were on the Wheeler wagon, welcome over to the Steve Freeman podcast. Guys, I know that I get very worked up over this. That yesterday, I mean, I got to be honest with you, it's hard to piss me off, but that streamer pissed me off because she has no idea what she's talking about. And I just don't understand why people, what this deal is with why everything should be free. I don't get it. I keep coming back to it, and it's the only thing that I can think of is that the people that think that way have never created anything of value. That's the only thing that you have nothing of value that could be taken away from you that you care about. That's the only thing I can come up with. Do I think that Article 13 is too far in one direction? I absolutely do. But I read you guys directly what is in Article 13. They are expecting adequate reporting and proportionate payments from content providers and platforms such as YouTube, Twitch, Amazon, Google, Apple, all of them. Proportionate payments for using copyrighted material and adequate reporting of when that material is used. And there's a lot of other things we went over in there. I don't see a problem with any of that. None of it. And like I said earlier, I'm sick of the argument that people give that she gave out yesterday, which was I should be considered free advertising. Streaming is free advertising. To recap, yes, it is free advertising, but it's advertising for a product that nobody's buying. So it's useless. So we've discussed Article 13. I said I was going to talk about it. We've talked about it. I would love to get to some of you guys' comments. More than anything, I would love, absolutely, number one, I'd love to debate, especially her. And I'm not going to say her name, but I would love to debate her on it. And like I said, if I were 21 years old, I would probably, in the day and age that we're growing up in now, I would look at it completely differently. I really would. But I wasn't trying to belittle her in her chat, but she was talking about it, so I jumped in. I was not trying to belittle her at all, and I wasn't going to do that. I would never do that to anybody. Although she ended up telling me I had no fucking clue what I was talking about, and I wasn't despite all that. What I wanted to say is, little girl, I am twice your age and 500 times more successful. I have the one thing that you don't, and that is experience. And I think we need to do a better job. I know this is a parental problem. It really is. There again, going back to what I said earlier, we have done a huge disservice to our children by putting them in these bubbles. Everybody gets a trophy. Nothing's wrong. Anything's accepted. Whatever you want to believe is right. We've done a huge disservice to the next generation because they have this mentality and thought that everything should be free. You don't have to work for it. You just have to get a lot of likes for it on Instagram. That's our fault. You know, again, talking what I set both of my kids down. And this is going to sound horrible, but it's the truth. I've got one about to go to college. I've got one going into high school. I have set them down and said, look, my youngest daughter is oddly enough a phenomenal singer. She's not interested in pursuing it. I don't know if it's because her dad's in the music business and she's seen both sides of it, so she's not interested in it, but she's a phenomenal singer. My wife, and I always hate when this happens. I literally really hate it when this happens. So if anybody in chats asks me to do this, it's not that I hate you. I just don't like being put in this situation. But you wouldn't believe I get asked 50 times a week, hey, will you listen to my brother? Will you listen to my sister? Will you listen to my cousin? Will you do this? My wife came to me and she goes, I know you hate this, and I know you hate doing it. But will you listen to this song, listen to this person sing, and tell me what you think? And then I'll let her mom know your professional opinion. And I'm like, yes, you know I don't like doing this, but I'll do it. You know, and she doesn't ever ask me to do that. And I know she gets hit up about it all the time. And I said, fine. So she handed me her phone and I hit play. And I hear this girl singing. And I was like, like halfway through the song, I was like, I said, who the fuck is this? I mean, because that is fantastic. Like, I want to work with her immediately. And my wife looks at me and she said, it's your daughter. I'd never heard my daughter sing before. And she was phenomenal. But it's not something that she wants to pursue when her dad has the keys to the kingdom. And she doesn't want to do that. But she's also smart because, going back, I've set my kids down and had the you can be everything conversation and let them know that you can't be anything you want to be. And parents, it's okay because that prepares your kids to work hard. When you tell your kids that they can be anything they want to be in a world that we live in right now where you can't. It's okay for kids to hear that, and it's okay for them to accept it. The earlier and the sooner, the better, because then that sets them out on the path that they will find, that they are good at, that they excel at, that they specialize in. It's going to drive them. But I just made the decision that I was not going to put my kids in a bubble. And we need to stop putting these kids in a bubble. And like I said earlier, they live in this thing where the environment is controlled, the temperature's controlled, it's nice and cushy. They've got satellite TV in the bubble. They've got fucking Spotify that they can listen to anything they want, unlimited for free in the bubble. Anything they want is right there at their service in the bubble. So the first time something comes along and punctures the bubble and the bubble's gone and they're in the real world and they're hit with the bacteria and they're hit with real life, they freak out. And they have no idea who they are. They have no identity under their own other than what those of us that control the bubble have allowed them to have access to. And they've been force-fed and given all of this stuff through tubes, like the boy in the bubble. Just, okay, pass it through, open that, pass it through, close that, you open it. It's very sanitary. It's very safe. It's very easy. When they don't have that, how are they supposed to know who they are? How are they supposed to add to society when they don't even know who they are? And when I look around and I see, and I get into quasi arguments like I did with the Twitch streamer yesterday, that's what I see. I see somebody who's been protected their whole life. They've not been called upon or expected to create anything of value because everything's just handed to them. So when somebody, if I give you this microphone for free, you will appreciate it, but you will not value it. I value it because I paid $399 for it. I have an interest in it. I value it. But if I give it to you, you will appreciate it, but you will not value it because you didn't have the hard work that came into earning, being and having the ability to have it. If I buy you a drink, you appreciate it, but you don't value it. You don't value it to the point to where if you saw somebody else that wanted a drink, you would just give them the one I just gave you. That's what it boils down to. I want to get to your comments. I know we've been going, it's already been an hour and a half. And I want to get to you guys' comments. So if you're watching on Twitch, and I haven't pissed you off yet, you're strong. So type your comments in the comment section, in chat section. YouTube, you can do the same exact thing. Because I would, more than anything, I'd love to hear somebody that disagrees with me. That's what I would absolutely love. And I just realized that whole thing was pulled up in the wrong thing. So let me do this so I can see this. Because I can't currently see. There we go. Now I can see it. None of the comments from Twitch were coming through. Now they are. Ring Roundup says, I don't know much of Article 13, but I do know that this bump stock ban on us have pissed off gun owners, but I believe copyright is also important. Man, I got to be honest with you. I don't like the bump stock thing. I am a huge gun owner. I have one of the largest gun collections you've ever seen. I love guns. Love, love, love them. I believe that you ought to be educated in using them. Your entire family, if you're going to have them, should be educated in using them. It should be extremely... Guns are not for everybody. I don't like the bump stocks because basically what it does is take a legal weapon and make it illegal. It takes or simulates an illegal firearm by almost making it fully automatic. You can't, without the proper licensing, go down and buy a fully automatic weapon. If you're not allowed to do that, you shouldn't be able to go buy a stock that makes the gun you do have fully automatic. That's just the way that I believe it. And that's from a gun owner. I believe in the Second Amendment. I will have guns. You will have to pry them from my cold, dead hands. But I think that the laws are in place to protect people. And I just don't see, number one, I don't see why anybody needs a fully automatic weapon. I don't. I don't. As a gun owner, I don't think you need an AK-47 for deer hunting. I don't think that citizens, regular citizens, should have access to military-grade firearms. You don't need an AR-15 to protect your family. Matter of fact, to that argument, I've heard that one too. To that argument, the absolute worst gun you could possibly own if your home got invaded is an AR-15. The absolute worst gun you could own. Best gun, shotgun. Worst gun, AR-15. That's my 2 cents. Let's see. Neza says, I find it okay-ish as long as copyright holders create an easy system where content creators will be able to pay a small broadcasting fee for use of tracks. Absolutely. I agree totally. Here's the other thing. I want to make this very clear. I'm not proposing that you should have to pay through the roof for content. Look, those of us songwriters who make our living off of this, we have come to terms with what's going on with the music business, okay? We understand that our income is declining. So what happens? I charge more to produce a record. I charge more to develop an artist. My income's not, I'm going to make it up. I'm going to make it back, okay? We've made that, we know we're getting screwed and it's not ever going to change. The 44% over the next 5 years through the Music Modernization Act it's not going to change the check that comes to my mailbox worth a damn. I probably, with the difference that it's going to make, I might could take 10 or 12 of you for coffee, which I'm more than willing to do with or without the raise. So it's not, we're going to find other ways. But I agree. I'm not saying that we should be charging all of this money to content creators and platforms and all of that. I'm not saying that. What Neza has said is a very good argument, and it's 100% correct. I don't care if it's 5 cents. Let me make this very clear. If you want to use one of my songs in your video, I don't care if you paid 5 cents. I mean, would I rather you pay $100? Absolutely. I mean, I'm a capitalist. I'm American, red-blooded. But if you paid 5 cents, I'm okay with that too. My thing of it is we've got to break the cycle that everything should be free. I don't care if it's 3 cents. Does it bug me that we don't make more money on Spotify spins, that I can have 30 million spins on a song I wrote for an artist and get $1,200? Yeah, that bugs me. Because, see, that artist is going out and selling out arenas and charging $75 to $500 a ticket. See, I don't get any of that. I don't get any of that money. So that free advertising that we don't make anything when it streams, the artist gets the benefit of the advertising. They get the benefit of that advertising turning into merchandise sales and ticket sales and all other endorsement deals and all that none of us get. We don't get a piece of that, but yet we are the reason they are where they are. Because we wrote the song that got them where they are. But we don't get a piece of any of that. We don't get any of that. So it does bug me when people say, like yesterday, she said, it's people like you that are killing the music industry. And I'm like, yeah, that you're totally 100% correct. I made the decision that I wanted to get up and commit suicide. I'm killing my own business. I'm not. It wasn't ever my choice. So, okay, back to comments. Anybody else got a comment? Let's see. Dwayne Knight says, living on mommy and daddy's coattails. That's exactly right. That seems to be what's going on. Ring Roundup says, I agree, which is why our president actually did something right with I assume you're talking about the bump stocks. Yeah. Speaking of crazy, who saw the thing about Jussie Smollett today? All charges dropped. Only in America. Guys, we live, and I am sure what people 1,000 years from now will look back and go, these fucking people were crazy. They lost their ever-loving mind. No wonder they blew the entire world up. It's just, it is absolutely insane, the times that we live in and what people get away with. I'm interested to see how this thing plays out. I'm waiting till the end to draw my inevitable and final conclusion. But it's going to be interesting to see. The two brothers are still saying that they beat him up, but that he didn't have anything to do with it, didn't have anything to do with a hate crime. And the $3,500 that he paid them was for their bodybuilding expertise and their personal training services. God, we will believe we are our own worst enemy. There is no way around it. We are literally our own worst enemy. Analog Circle Podcast says, what genre do you write for? Man, I've had hits in just about every genre you can imagine. Country, pop, rock, contemporary Christian. Never done rap. Probably won't ever do rap. It's not my bag. I get asked all the time, but it's just not my thing. I don't do it well, so if I can't do it well, I'm not going to do it at all. Let's see. Look at radio. Same thing. Well, Dwayne, I mean, even there, you got to, and I was putting this in this girl's chat yesterday. I was typing this, and she kept just telling me I was wrong. And I'm like, how? I'm not, that would be like me saying, okay, my shirt's black, and her going, no, you're wrong. So I'll put this in her chat, and I'll say again, restaurants, concert venues, libraries, anywhere public, any establishment, bars, restaurants, Starbucks, GameStop, TJ Maxx, any, capital A-N-Y, any establishment that plays music, even as background noise, they all pay performance royalties to the performing rights organizations. All of them. And if they don't, their business can be shut down. Literally padlocked. That's how serious the law is. So when you walk into Dillard's and you're shopping and you're looking and they've got the music, they're not playing it for free. Dillard's corporate is paying royalties to be able to play that music. And she told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Now, things might be different where she's at in another country. Things could be different. But in the United States, when you walk into any establishment that plays music, they are paying royalties to the publishing companies and the performing rights organizations that then take that money and distribute it to the publishing companies and then down to the songwriters. They're not just turning on the radio and letting it play. Radio stations pay royalties. They pay a percentage, a large percentage of their expected gross revenue. Their royalty rates are based on their expected and projected gross revenue. So radio stations pay for the ability to play the music. XM, Sirius, satellite radio, they pay to be able to play the music for you to consume. They pay that on like with Sirius and XM. Yes, it is a part of their income, but it's also a part of their gross listenership. How many people are listening? As far as radio is concerned, larger markets pay more. Why? Because the music they play on that station is exposed to more people. In radio, different markets are what they call weighted. So, like a spin in Los Angeles is worth a hell of a lot more than a spin on a station in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's two totally different. The station in Los Angeles could have 6 million people listening to it. The radio station pays a higher royalty rate to entertain those 6 million people than the station in Little Rock, Arkansas that has 20,000 people listening to it has to pay to entertain those 20,000 people. Guys, this is not something I'm pulling out of my fucking ass. I know what I'm talking about. Greenfingus says, just got here. What's the deal with Article 13? Should I Google? Absolutely, Greenfingus. You should Google it, but I did about an hour and a half thing explaining what it is. This will be available on demand on YouTube in about an hour and a half. Just go back and watch the podcast on demand, and I'll walk you through it completely. It's way too much to go back over right now, but it'll all make sense to you if you watch the replay. All right. Anybody else got any comments? Anybody else got any questions? Any comments? If you don't agree with me, let me know. I'd love to hear somebody. I don't know if Kalen Dory's in here or not. But I sent him a message because the streamer that I sort of got into it with is a part of his community. And I said, because Dory has had me on his podcast on Sunday before, the Discord Boys podcast. And I sent him a message on Discord and I said, hey, I would love to come back on the podcast and have this particular person on the podcast to debate Article 13. Because it's impossible to have a debate when she's got the microphone and can say whatever she wants to say, and I'm reliant upon how fast I can type and getting what I want to say in there in characters and then counting her to read an interpretation. It's completely different. So if anybody watching or anybody out there would like to debate me on Article 13 or anything music business related, I want you to know I am up for it 100% of the time. And I'm willing to do it any time that you want to do it. And I welcome it. I welcome debate. I'm open-minded. I would love to do it. Because a lot of times what gets, and we here in the United States, we are the most guilty. We'll read a headline and that becomes our truth. If we are generally inclined to agree or disagree, then we take our stance based on what the headline says. If you don't like Trump, anything you're going to read, if it's anti-Trump, you agree with it. If you're pro-Trump and the article is pro-Trump and you see the headline, you're automatically going to like it. That's just the way that we are. But guys, the devil is always in the details. We can't just adapt and adopt headlines as our core beliefs. We have to dig into the issues, and you have to know what you're talking about. So I'm going to chalk what happened yesterday in her chat up to her being ignorant. And when I say that, I'm not meaning stupid. I'm meaning uninformed. That's what I'm going to say. You can't just look at something on the outside without knowing the particulars. The reason I know the particulars because it affects me 100%. It's not this extra little thing, well, and somebody throws out a headline saying, well, Twitch will be gone and YouTube will be gone. No, they won't. Amazon's not going anywhere in Europe. Twitch isn't going anywhere in Europe. None of these services, none of these platforms are going to disappear. It will not happen. It's not going to happen. But you get scared because of what somebody says. And they throw out a general thing, and they throw it up against the wall, and they get everybody to stand under that banner and unite. Find out the facts. Find out what stuff really means, guys, for yourself. And again, I'll go back to it. For those of you that think that everything should be free and that you shouldn't have to pay for the content that you want to use, the copywritten content that you want to use, the reason you feel that way is because you yourself have never created anything of value. And the day that you do, then your story will change. It's like I said very early in the podcast today. Those of you that were on the Wheeler wagon and came in via Janelle's raid, you didn't hear this. I'll go really quickly back over this. What's going on right now with content creators, it's the same thing as if you spent 10 years, 20 years developing your Twitch channel, developing your YouTube channel, and you built it up to 20,000 subscribers. And even at the affiliate level, you're getting $2.50 for each one of those 20,000 subscribers per month. So you're pulling in $50,000 a month. And then all of a sudden, Twitch comes to you and says, we're changing our policy. You're no longer going to make $2.50. You're going to make less than a penny per month for every sub. But we're going to put your channel on the homepage of Twitch every day because it's free advertising and it's good to pull people into your channel. But you're no longer going to make $2.50 a subscriber. You're going to make less than a penny. I guarantee you, those of you that are on Twitch, especially the girl I had the deal with yesterday, I guarantee you, if that happened to you, all of a sudden your channel would be a hell of a lot more valuable to you than the penny or less than a penny that Twitch and Amazon thinks you're worth. And on that, guys, we will end it this week. Thank you guys so much for checking out the Steve Freeman podcast. It is absolutely blowing me away. This podcast is reaching over 100,000 people a week. Those of you that come in here and watch it live and then download it and stream it on Spotify and Apple and everywhere else it's available. And then watch the replays on YouTube. It's just amazing to me. I love spending this time with you guys. I know that I've not been very good here recently. I've just been busy. I was in the studio. I'm producing an EP this week. Next week, I'm in Hattiesburg, Mississippi on some music video shoots. And then the week after that, I am in Los Angeles for a while. We will be doing the podcast live from LA. That will be fun. That will be an experience. But I'm even going to try to start doing that. This is my busy time of the year. I have a lot of records I've got to produce, and I'm working on some film projects and writing some songs and producing some soundtracks for some films this summer. So things are going to start to get busy, but I'm going to try to stay on a regular schedule. That's my goal anyway. That's what I'm going to try to do. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you don't follow me on social media, make sure you do that right freaking now. It's at the Steve Freeman. Everywhere on social media, at the Steve Freeman. I don't do a lot on Facebook, but you can follow me there if you want. I'm more of an Instagram guy. You can follow me there for sure. And don't forget, later tonight, if you want to go back, you want to rewatch this, you want to find out something, say, Steve really pissed me off and I want to get even madder, this episode will be available on demand on both Twitch and YouTube a little bit later this evening. And let's see, it'll be available on Spotify and Apple Podcast and iTunes at noon tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. And until next time, thank you guys. See you on the next round.
Curtain call, guess I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone, and for you to come home, you to come home. I let you in, it ain't a sin, with all these simulations. Should be fake smile, will take a while to get rid of. I'm sorry, all we can't see the good that we had, Jenny. I'm waiting for the curtain call, guess I want it all, anyway at all. Thought I missed it by waiting for the game respond, for the lost and found, for the home alone.